Apparently we're live. And yeah, we are live. Hey guys, welcome back for part 2 of the Gematria special that we I think we started this about 2 weeks back. With us we have coming back Derek, the Gematrinator, as well as my co-host Conspiracy, aka Fear Porn Propaganda, aka Steve. And
Hello, everyone.
we also have another special guest named Zachary. Zachary, how is Zachary? Are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem, mate. And yeah, no, everybody is bringing something to the table here. I don't know. Where should we start off now from where we left off before? Derek, could you kick off where we were when we last left all these lovely people?
Well, I can help you. He was talking about the organic matrix at the end. But go ahead.
I would be better at highlights than remembering exactly where we left off. But basically, you know, encompassing my work right now is figuring out this this crucifixion code, so to speak, that seems to be in play in the media, and documenting all these deaths that happen by the numbers. Kind of on the side, also theorizing about which ones are real, which ones are fake, which ones the people are flying away to an island or something like that. And really discovering, hey, I mean, this code is rooted in the Bible to begin with, and the story about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ just seems very logical. And when you're able to apply it to how these celebrities are dying by the numbers, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So we're starting to be able to like pick out dates ahead of time on which we're going to see certain events. And just this past August 3rd, that was the date I predicted we'd see an eclipse sacrifice in the media. And it wasn't a celebrity, but we did get the death of that murder suspect who gunned down George Bush's aide from a bicycle. And
oh, wow.
And his name was Joseph Pappas, which sums to 142, just like Eclipse Sacrifice. And there was a whole lot more into that, but we're starting to at least like pick dates out on which we know something will happen. It's just a matter of perhaps compiling the data. If we had a database of celebrities and their names, their dates of birth, we might figure something out one day as far as like figuring this out.
Okay, so the logical person would have to ask the question that if you have a system that you can kind of decode, is there a way to have a predictability matrix of some sort?
Well, that's what he's talking about. If we have the database, then you can use the database to reference the information on, like, next to each other in a sense, and be able to see all of the data that correlates with each other.
Right. So let me give you an example of just today, for instance.
Okay.
There was a shooting at a radio station here in Madison, Wisconsin, and the radio station was 89.9, but the way they style the letters in their logo looks like 888. The nines just hook right up to the rest of the number. Well,
I've seen that before, actually.
Yeah. So today, Wisconsin turned exactly 8,880 weeks old, and in Jewish gematria, radio station shooting equals 888. So if somehow this knowledge is stored in a database and you plug in certain numbers, is that something that might pop up as a potential news event and just generate like 1,000 potential news events, and maybe one of them you'll suddenly see in the media? That's kind of where I'd like to eventually take this work, and I hope that people who discover it and understand it are starting to kind of take it in that direction. Because, I mean, honestly, I just think we need to wake people up, and we don't need to do all that, but at the same time, a lot of people ask for it, You know
what boggles my mind is that this sounds very similar to the concept behind the movie War Games, where the Whopper, the WOPR, was creating war game simulations and creating scenarios and calculating them over and over and over inside of its own little mainframe. Until, of course, it was tapped into by what's his fuck there. But what I mean to say,
Matthew
oh yeah, Matthew Broderick. Say Broderick again.
Broderick.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so like I was saying, it strikes me as a similar concept, though. I mean, is this what we have to do? Like, I mean, like to process the information and calculate this out in order to figure out these scenarios and then have a result set and then base an opinion on it. I'm still on the fence on this.
Well, what throws me is the riddles. Like I don't really understand how riddles work in general. So then I apply the riddle element to the gematria, and then I get lost because I see what's going on, but I can't figure out the riddle or understand why it's a riddle or how whatever. Like
Okay.
I mean, a riddle is essentially a question, and I'm sorry, an answer, and you're supposed to figure out the question, right?
No, not technically. A riddle is actually a question, and you are the one involved in investigating and figuring out what the answer is to that question. No,
It's
that's
not
completely
Jeopardy.
wrong. Yeah, it's not Jeopardy. No.
Yeah, okay, see, that's where I've gotten confused. So how does a riddle work so I can apply it correctly?
Well,
Do you mind if I chime in here?
Zach might chime in here. Yeah.
Yes, Zach, please,
yeah,
dude.
Zach, please.
Okay. So something I've told people to do for predictive programming, for understanding how gematria is used and getting ahead of the curve is, let's just use the radio station example again. Something I've always told people to do is look at the dates on months or the dates of a calendar and do the math and see what dates have 44 numerology. And likely those dates, the dates that have 44 numerology, you're going to see shootings in the media, shooting related stories in the media. And in the case of the radio station, it didn't happen on a date with 44 numerology. It happened on August 5th, 2018. But what's interesting about that shooting is that radio station's in its 44th year of operation, and it happened in Wisconsin, which is one of two states with a gematria of 44 in the reduction cipher, which is pretty much, the go-to cipher. However, yesterday, also in the news, the same day as the radio station shooting, it was reported that 44 people were shot in Chicago in 14 hours. And also yesterday in the news, they were making a big deal about the recent shooting in Clearwater, Florida, the shooting of, what was his name? Marquise McGlockton, which was on July 19th, 18. Yesterday, they were bringing a lot of attention to that story. Have you guys heard about this story, the Stand Your Ground shooting in Florida?
I watched your video on it.
Bits and pieces.
So, okay.
The
story
today.
is there's another Stand Your Ground story from Clearwater, Florida. The story is that it was in a parking lot. Two men got in a dispute over a parking spot. One man shoved the other man down. After he shoved him down, he walked away, and the man who got shoved down stood up and shot him and killed him. And anyway, McGlockton, again, this shooting happened on a date with 44 numerology, July 19th, 18. The thing that obviously stands out about that story is the name of the victim, McGlockton. Glock obviously being a gun. Well, here's a riddle. Because you look up Glock, you look up Gaston Glock, who established the company. That was his birthday the day the shooting happened on, July 19th. And anyway, so that's the predictive part. Almost every single month, the date with 44 numerology, you're going to get a big shooting story. This year it was this past month, July 19th, it was the Stand Your Ground shooting in Clearwater, Florida. They gave the victim, they gave his initials that have the 44 gematria. And then they also gave you the riddle, McGlockton being killed on Gaston Glock's birthday. And, I think that answers what you guys were trying to say. How do we use this for predictive programming? Well, just, when you learn that the numbers that they use repetitively for stories. Another example, 86 and 68 are always connected to death and murder. On June 8th, you had the death of Anthony Bourdain and a number of other celebrities, but it was Anthony Bourdain who got the big headlines that day. Now here on August 6th, these are both dates that can be written 6/8, 8/6, like 86, 68. Now today, one of the stories is this super famous chef in France dropped dead. And the word chef has gematria of 86 in addition to blood sacrifice. And with regards to the 68 piece, caskets go 6 feet deep or 8 feet long. But anyway, you learn the riddles with the numbers, how 68 and 86 associate with death. You can know to watch out for the dates June 8th and August 6th, because each year we're reading about celebrity deaths on those days. So there's some really repetitive patterns, and that's where the predictive programming piece comes in. If you understand the numbers and what they mean and how they're ritualistically used, you can expect what you might see in the headlines. Derek was just talking about expecting a death on August 3rd. 8/3 or 3/8. The word murder equals 83 and 38. This year it was a rapper died on that day. Rapper equals 38. A lot of rappers in history have died on dates with 38 connections. Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G. dead on dates with 38 numerology, and a whole lot more. A rapper dies on that date. Derek also brought up the point about the supposed suspect in the drive-by bicycle shooting of George H.W. Bush's doctor. By the way, that doctor was killed 38 days after George H.W. Bush's birthday, and the doctor's name equals 38. And then, lo and behold, the suspect, supposedly responsible for the killing, dies on August 3rd, a date, again, that could be written 3/8.
Wow.
So these are the really repetitive cycles that you can get ahead of. You know, you go through and you look at your calendar for the month, and you say, okay, this date has 44 numerology. I expect a shooting on that date. Oh, this date has 38 numerology. I'm going to wait and see who's reported dead in the headlines that day. And you'll realize it's like clockwork every single month. It's like, okay, here's our big death story on the 38 day. Here's our big shooting story on the 44 day. And of course, these things also happen on dates where it doesn't necessarily have the 44 numerology or the 38 numerology, but the connection's right there. For example, the radio station in its 44th year of operation in the state with the 44 gematria on this day where they're going crazy with the 44 shooting headlines. I mean, Illinois and Wisconsin are right next to each other, right? These were the two stories getting the 44 shooting attention. And it's just that this is how you use the predictive programming. Then when you also realize, I mean, who's using this code? There's two groups of people predominantly using this code. This code is used by Jewish Kabbalists, and this code is important to some Freemasons. A lot of Freemasons are in the dark on this code, so it's not like all of Freemasonry has understanding, but these are the two groups using this code. And what I've observed...
I have a question. Do other secret societies use this code as well?
Well, I think all of them that have these Masonic affiliations absolutely do. So, I mean, that includes Knights Templar, Knights of Malta, Jesuits. So, yeah, absolutely.
Rosicrucians.
Rosicrucians, well, Freemasonry is born out of the Rosicrucians. So, yeah, absolutely. Are we still connected?
Chase just joined us. Yeah, Chase just joined us.
We have a new visitor, Chase.
Also known as Young Decoder.
Yeah, I had
welcome on in, Chase.
Yeah, I had
no problem.
Chores, so I'm a little late.
No worries, mate.
Hope you scrubbed those dishes good.
I did.
Did you mow the lawn too?
No.
So before we get to Chase and introduce him, I just want to touch on the death of the chef. So you mentioned how this guy died today, the August 6th date, 8/6. He was 73 years old, and 73, another number that I document at length. It's the gematria of sacrifice and ritual sacrifice. And then he died 3 months, 30 days after his birthday. And I have a big long slide on why 33 is this heavy number of sacrifice.
Well, Derek, he died 121 days after his birthday as well, and blood sacrifice equals 121 with the alphabetic order. So yeah, he has all the sacrifice encoding. And the video I made on that, somebody posted that some TV person in the UK also dropped dead today at age 73. So
yeah, then the date numerology 8/6/2018. You add those together, it's 52. And this French chef, his name sums to 52. And that's a number of death as well. Death has double gematria of 52 in the extended ciphers.
Mm-hmm. So then the riddles are sometimes locked in the actual names and words that are being used that are being coded.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Awesome. Dates on the calendar are every bit as important as the gematria, if not more.
Oh yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, And you know, I notice when I'm communicating that with the layman person, they always kind of lump up just the gematria. They don't like focus on the dates of the calendar part. And it's like you have to add everything together. And there's also the numerology.
Right.
Well, when I was on Dan Barron's podcast last night, he was talking about how one of his history teachers or whatever said that the dates weren't important and that all he had to do is understand, what happened. But then, when he got into gematria, he figured out that the dates were important.
Yeah, yeah.
So Chase, please help us out here. What's your involvement in all this? Please introduce yourself to the people listening.
All right. So yeah, so basically, by so I'll just give you a little background. I was a Chiefs fan, and I watched. It was a pretty big one actually, and I watched the Chiefs Titans game, and I
What year?
saw I've watched I watched so much
This
football.
past January.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was this year.
Life, and there are these two, and never in my life did I hear it's not a fumble because forward progress was stopped. Like I've never heard of that ruling. And then there was like the Mariota forward pass and them knocking Kelsey out, and it was just such BS, right? So then I found like this clickbait video or like whatever, and it was like why the NFL was rigged. Watch that video, and then later I saw one of Zach's videos pop up, and I clicked on it, and he was talking about 42, and about because I that was a number I already knew because
That's the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
right, yeah, but he was talking about it in the context of Black history, and because I already associated that number with Jackie Robinson,
See, I
I was
associate
like,
that number with Douglas Adams.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, if Chase doesn't know.
right. In
Yeah, yeah.
in one of the games I actually played is called the Impossible Quiz. I don't know if you've ever played that. In question number 42, it asks what is the answer to the universe, and what you have to do is there a bunch of 42s, and you have to click on the 42nd 42. That's the answer to the question.
And you know what? That is an
That is
absolute
crazy.
that's hats off. No, that's a tip of the hat to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's a
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
total.
that's crazy.
right.
Zach has a whole breakdown on Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in
Oh,
42.
I'd love to pick Zach's brain on that one. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a huge Douglas Adams fan. In fact, actually, Douglas Adams inspired me to write my own story uh, in his honor. But
But
anyway,
continue, Chase.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So yeah, and then I also looked back at this Raiders Chiefs game prediction, and and I and it was all about 52, and I watched the before game and then I watched the after game one, and I was like, wow, he was like right on the money with it. So I knew that he was legit. And then I also saw him call the Minnesota Vikings game, which was just unbelievably rigged. That was beyond a doubt rigged. And I I knew it was legit, so I did some research on the MLK assassination and found all these crazy facts. Shared it on a show. He liked what he heard, and then I created my own blog, and that was on January 17th, and I've been in this
On
work since.
170.
Yep. Yeah, we were talking about that number on Dan Barron's show last night.
Yeah, I re-listened to that today.
Yeah.
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, our names are actually perfect matches in all the ciphers.
Yeah, like the last name Plager equals 203. My full name is 203. And then Chase Plager equals 95. My full name is 95 Reduction.
Oh, there's a match.
It's weird how that stuff works out, but it seems to.
So maybe it's just because, you know, we attach to this type of study. So then, you're going to have that gematria that goes along with the study.
You
Right,
guys
like-
ran my name last time we spoke.
You had a 117.
Did I?
Yeah. And then it was 217 to your birthday, and then how many years, the day of birth, and then how many days it is to the end of the year. There was 217.
Your name sums to
Right?
217 ordinal. There's 217 days left
There
on
it
the
is.
date of your birth.
Thank you.
I got one. Zach and I believe, are born 20 years and 17 days apart.
Or a span of 20 years, 18 days, like the year that you called in.
Yep.
Zach and I, we have birthdays 47 days apart. You know, how appropriate is that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Zach, you're like born like a couple of days before me, because I was born on the 24th of July.
In what year?
Oh, I'm older. I'm like 40. So my year is 78.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to do my birth thing, it's 7/24/1978.
Huh.
Oh, my birthday is tomorrow, so I'm not gonna be 14 anymore.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Awesome. Happy birthday.
Indeed.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So 14's been a good year.
Yeah, you'll be half my age in a couple more years.
You're in 83 when I'm 20.
Well, I just turned 33.
33. That's a good age.
So far, it's been all right.
Hey,
All right.
that reminds me. Can you explain what the golden age or whatever, golden birthday, how it associates with the gematria of your, like some people have them. It's like, and then I think you have one because of your 33. Isn't that correct?
Well, my life lesson number that I was born on, 6 plus 4 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 5, that sums to 33. That's called like the master teacher number. And of course, these are all things I found out after I got into this. My birth numerology also, 6 plus 4 plus 85 is 95. And again, my full name sums to 95 in reverse reduction or in reduction.
Right.
A lot of people seem to have these just natural alignments in their birth date with their name,
Yeah.
their date of birth, and then you'll find that in your family also, and that's when you realize something's going on.
What was
Yeah,
crazy?
I know. I found some weird stuff in my family.
What's crazy is that my birthday, my mom's birthday, and my dad's birthday are all in a row. Like,
Yeah, that is.
I'm the
Whoa.
7th, my mom's the 8th, my dad's the 9th.
Weird.
My brother's October 5th. Odd one out. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what happened. We lost Rob for some reason. Just disappeared.
Man is after us. They probably went after his internet.
Yeah. Just like
Maybe.
Alex Jones.
I'll check it. I'll check and see what's up.
Dude, we were being censored before being censored was cool.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't censored. Not yet.
Yeah, me neither. Although I don't do anything really. This is what I do.
I don't either.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys like are constantly putting out stuff. So, like,
Zach, I want to ask you: Have you ever had any kind of like spooky electronic thing? Aside, I remember the light bulb incident from a video, but anything ever really weird that made you think like something or someone was watching?
Well, do you remember the day before Yom Kippur started? I was all creeped out. And I even called you.
Oh, okay, yeah, we should tell about that because, dude, yeah, he called me. He doesn't call me very often, but he called me. And he was like, I could tell he was spooked out. He was just sounds came from his speakers that sounded like screams. He was getting like crackling noises and creaks. I never had anything that extreme.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I had the weird light bulb thing where it went off, having my moment of clarity with Donald Trump back in February 2016. But aside from that, the only other thing weird electronic is when my computer was making all those crazy noises that night, and it was just creeping me out. So was like, I'm going to call Derek. He knows something about computers, and maybe he can calm me down.
Oh, he's back. Rob's back.
Yeah, he told me his power got cut out.
Well,
Yeah, I
maybe-
wasn't the best calming presence in that scenario, but
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
you were. It felt a lot better.
well, that's good. Warming voice. I mean,
That's funny.
I've had some pretty weird things, down to like phone numbers calling me, you know, by the numbers. Like shortly after I tweet about a certain set of numbers, then those same numbers called me. Like
I'm
20
always getting
minutes after I
calls, and
tweet.
I'm wondering if I do the gematria on them, if they'll reveal stuff to me. They're just like, you know, probably like telemarketing calls and stuff, but they always come from different places. And
Yeah. I have a post decoding a phone call I got while I was listening to a song, and it was like the perfect number for this, and it just didn't make sense. It felt like a crazy post, but I don't know what's happening, man. I mean, it's pretty deep. Like the stuff that's happened to me made me think like reality is not what I thought it was 5 minutes prior. You know what I mean? I don't talk about them too often because it's kind of crazy, but literally like questioning whether or not my thoughts were being read. Like that's the kind of thing that's spooked me out a little bit in the past, but it is what it is. You can't do anything about it. Not from here anyway. So
You'll probably hear me now, though.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
now we can hear you.
my I don't know. This is kind of weird, but I have two lights in my room, and one was working, the other one wasn't, and then all of a sudden, the light that wasn't working is working now, and then the light that was working isn't working. I don't know. I don't know
that's
what
bizarre.
that is, but it was pretty weird.
I live in a haunted house, so I like kind of used to weird things like that. But that's pretty trippy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think my house is haunted.
Oh, mine is definitely haunted. It's like fucking,
This entire planet is
crazy.
fucking haunted. Are you goddamn kidding me?
I had what do you call it? Paranormal investigators actually do a sweep in my house, and then they ended up finding some stuff. So then they came back with a whole
Did you
team of
find
people.
them in what did you find them in the yellow pages under paranormal
No.
investigators?
It was a fluke scenario. I was like, I wanted to get one of them involved on what do you call it? Like that web series thing I was talking to you about.
Okay.
I wanted to have an actual paranormal investigator to interview for that to make it more real, you know. And so after we did this interview or whatever, I told him I had a kind of a crazy house and stuff. It may be haunted in his perception. If you want to come check it out, you know, I gave him the option, and he came right over, and they did a sweep and had some EVPs right away. So they were like, okay, yeah, we're gonna come back, and then they came back on like, I think it was close to that the eclipse time frame. I think it was October 21st or something like that. And it was there was something about that
That's like
night specifically,
that's
but we
10.
had a whole bunch of things
No,
that occurred that night, and people caught a bunch of stuff. The whole
Oh.
team, different people caught different stuff. It was crazy. So like they determined my house is haunted.
Oh.
Have you guys watched the Carbonaro Effect ever?
What's that?
Yeah, I used to love that show.
Yeah.
What?
They do some trippy show. They do some
They need to plug it into
show.
something else. Cool.
Like
Fantastic. So we won't be breaking the circuit anymore.
yeah, like
Cool.
the guy's a professional magician,
Fantastic.
and like
Yeah, we just figured out how I lost my power there. Yeah, I got kicked off because the breaker got kicked off. Luckily, we didn't lose the podcast because my entire everything I was doing here got kicked off.
Well, we kept it running for you. Chase, go ahead and continue.
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
So yeah, he I think like one of them, he had like this person in like this mummy case, and then like the person like disappeared and stuff, and he just does like all this wacko stuff, and you know it. I mean, it looks real, and he like fools the people that it's real, and it's crazy what he does.
Yeah,
Just
that guy's super talented. He plays
Who
it
are you
off.
talking
real well,
about?
too.
His
Who are you
name's
talking about?
Michael Carbonaro.
Okay.
He
I've
has
heard
No,
a
that
I haven't
name.
heard of that one. I haven't
yeah,
heard that one yet.
he has a show called
Interesting.
the Carbonaro Effect. It's on a True TV, I believe.
Yeah, that's where I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think I have True TV. That's probably why.
My aunt is actually is on. She's an actress on one of the shows on True TV.
No shit.
Yeah, serious.
Wow.
So a reality show actor?
Ever
Huh.
heard of the show I'm Sorry?
No,
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 but
I haven't.
but I say it all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, she's the lead in that show.
Huh.
Oh, cool.
I'm not old enough to watch that though. Apparently, it's too inappropriate for me.
Aw,
I don't watch my
Muffin.
cousin on TV either.
That's funny. On
Yeah.
True TV, they have inappropriate like that. That's weird. I remember seeing like a lizard, like towing company or something like that, and like getting stuck on that show for a minute just because it was in front of me, which is just the craziest show I've ever seen.
Have you ever heard of the show Nathan for
Lizard
You?
Lick, it was called. What? Nathan for You? Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, this
I haven't seen
okay,
it.
this dude is like really weird, but he's like or he comes up with like these really weird solutions and they like work sometimes like he fooled the news. He got so for one of the episodes he did like this. So there's this farm or this petting zoo or whatever, and it was in this really kind of um off off the main drag location in LA, and they didn't really get enough visitors, so they needed an attraction or whatever. So then what they did is they had like this pig or something drowning in the water, and then they had like this goat or whatever rescue it. So what they did is they put tracks under and were under the goats, moving the goats and guiding the pig out. And it news. He got duped by it.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah, very very strange. But I mean, like there there's some interesting shows on that network. I think it was on True TV.
Isn't there just a recent news story about goats? I swear, like I was going, oh, random goat, when they said that, when they had it.
Oh, God,
Did you guys pick that up? You guys are always on watching the news thing.
sounds
Nothing on
familiar.
goats? Interesting. Yeah, I
I've
was
seen a
like,
lot of viral videos of goats like bumming around different websites lately.
that was
Goats
like a
to me
news
seem
story
like very
about goats
disturbing
goats
animals.
getting loose or something like that, and like terrorizing people or taking over an area or something like that because they were loose.
One of my favorite videos is actually one of cows freeing each other from their bonds and escaping their captors. Actually, it's quite entertaining to actually see cows literally like move levers and open gates and free their loved ones and the whole bit. It was actually
Yeah,
just entertaining as fuck. So
cows are pretty smart.
cows are smart, I have to say.
Yeah, and we just kill them and eat them. And
Yeah,
just fucked up people, man.
Oh, well, they're tasty, just like pigs. There's a reason why in some religions that pigs are illegal to eat because they're so
Well, okay,
freaking
well, you know
tasty.
what? That brings to mind to me, the organic meat like that they grow. Like, I think maybe I might go back to meat if they actually grew meat, if it was tested and it checked out, it was fine, and there was a certain amount of time
What
frame
are you
that I
talking
can like,
about? Growing meat in a petri dish?
yeah.
Oh, fuck that. No, no. Oh God. You know, the day that you turn to petri dish meat
Not
is the day.
necessarily
No, hang on,
petri
hang
dish,
on.
but
Let me finish my statement. The day that
I'm
you
thinking more
turn to
like
petri dish meat,
3D
the day that you
printed.
eat that kind of meat, I will go completely vegetarian. I
Well, I mean, I was thinking more like 3D printed meat, not like petri dish.
3D printed.
What
Yeah,
now?
that actually is happening.
That's even more disturbing.
That's happening in I believe in UC Davis.
Oh God. Okay. For those who are listening right now, what he's on about is 3D printed. Actually, they are doing 3D printed organs where they actually utilize 4 or 5 different injector systems to basically 3D print an organ utilizing certain chemicals as a spacer for veins and tunnels and pathways and or being replaced by other bits. But anyway, the case is it's all very goddamn creepy when it comes down.
It is pretty creepy. That's what I'm saying.
It's creepy as fuck when it comes to consumption. I mean, I'm going to 3D print myself a steak. Hang on a second, it'll be ready in 3 hours, and then I got to cook it. Fuck off.
I'm so hungry, it just won't download. It keeps getting stuck.
No, I'm thinking that'll eventually replace like the whole McDonald's thing, like the slime.
They got to get better bandwidth.
Instead, they'll have 3D printing food.
No, we got to get better bandwidth for fast food then.
Well, and if you watch, there's this television show called The Orville where they have these things called food synthesizers.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about. That's a great show. I love that show.
Yeah. like I think
but it's horrible. It's horrible because it's done by Seth MacFarlane. I hate Seth MacFarlane.
I mean, even though the show's kind of wacky, I kind of like it. It's kind of funny sometimes.
You know, it's funny. It picked up the ball. No, it picked up the ball where Star Trek dropped it.
No, totally. You're right. I mean, that's what I was going to say. You took the words out of my mouth. It's like
Star Trek dropped the ball, and the Orville
better than it's better than Star Trek in the sense that it's really Star Trek.
It's actually given the Star Trek people a new way of thinking to go, oh shit, we might want to jump on top of handling our Star Trek shit right, because the Orville's handling our Star Trek better than we can.
Right. Well, yeah, and in the Orville also, money is obsolete because they have the food synthesizers. So basically, if you have the food synthesizers and then you have all these robots and stuff, then money is going to be obsolete.
Right.
Right.
Because if everybody has a food synthesizer and everybody has robots, then you need money for.
Yeah, but how do you get the food synthesizer? I mean, something has to be made. Like someone's got to make it.
How are you going to pay?
They got to get paid.
How are you going to pay for your Pornhub account?
Robots will run it. It'll be like robot porn.
Fair enough. We don't know what the future holds.
He said fair enough. That's hilarious.
What's your take on this, Zach?
Well, I'm out of the loop on this conversation because I don't know about these TV shows.
What about the meat?
Well, I'm a vegetarian, so.
Yeah, but what if they grew it in a dish or something?
Well,
I don't eat meat. I'm a pescatarian. I eat fish, so.
If food's all about profit, so I mean, if they can profitably figure out how to make meat that looks like meat and passes the test for the taste buds and the eyesight, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that is the future. If it's cheaper to produce meat that way, they will.
Yeah, that's a true story.
Yeah.
But then you'd be saving the animals, right?
Right.
Well, it depends on what they make it out of. So.
Well, I mean, if they're doing the 3D printed, then they're essentially using a mold, and then they put like cells along the mold, and that builds into the structure.
Sure, I guess theoretically you'd be saving the animals. Yeah.
My problem is who's going to kill the animals, though? Somebody has to kill the fucking animals, because you can't just have a bunch of fucking animals running around fucking willy-nilly. There's a fucking nature system in effect where there's a natural order where
you milk
predators
them.
You eat the fuckers.
We're going to get something called
the only reason we have so many is
milk
because...
them, man.
But the only reason we have so many is because we
don't eat enough of them because of these fucking goddamn vegetarians. We don't eat enough of these fuckers. Fuck's sake. Fucking bleeding hearts.
Well, you'll be a lot healthier.
Yeah.
It is a true story that the human fucking our actual intestinal tract is about fucking 24 feet long, which takes about approximately 18 hours to push food through. So at 98.5 degrees Celsius, yeah, meat will actually turn pungent, and I think the word is rot inside your guts. And yeah, it'll actually force 30% of your entire immune system to forcibly remove that rot. And yeah,
Well, fish is much better on the digestion.
well,
Right.
well,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
well,
agreed. That's why I eat fish.
Yeah.
Well, when I do, I mean, I don't eat
Yeah.
fish all the time.
Just got to
Yeah,
worry about
my
things like mercury and stuff now in fish.
Exactly, and that.
yeah.
But your body will fight off mercury if you do it in small doses.
Yeah.
you know, you can catch a fish, you can catch a lake trout in like Lake Erie, and it still has like radiation doses from 1967. So I don't
Well,
buy that bullshit either. Now you
that's
got to look
because
at Fukushima and everything else. I mean,
the
look,
government doesn't want you to eat it because
no,
it's
no,
brain
no, no,
food.
no. If you eat it, if you actually, I've actually seen on YouTube somebody actually take radiological tests of a fish caught, and it's just like everything shows up. It doesn't matter where you catch a fish on the planet, because everything will show up as a radiological source. Um, but yeah, I say eat meat, eat fucking everything.
Everything in moderation.
That's what my uncle taught me when I was a kid. He said, everything in this world will make you sick, so you might as well eat what you enjoy. And I have a huge family, and he's the only one who's dead, and he didn't quite make it to 60. He actually died right before his birthday, too. But
I have a small family, and I'm one of the few that's still alive.
you
And
still look pretty young, though. You're pretty young.
I make 44 look good.
So there you go. Yeah, be careful. My sister, she got diagnosed with cancer at age 44.
Yeah.
My
That's the
sister, her whole life has hated vegetables, and she's been on the meat and cheese diet. And I used to even tell her when I was little, I was like, you got to at least keep the lettuce on your taco. She just want it with meat and cheese.
You said taco.
fish tacos are pretty good.
Hey, Zach.
None of this
Oh,
taco
go ahead.
talk.
Yeah. Hey, Zach, can you give us the breakdown on the 42 with the Douglas Adams?
Sure. So if you go to Derek's calculator, Gematrinator, it pops up those 4 base ciphers. If you type in Deep Thought, which is the name of the computer that puts out that, how's it go again?
Which part though?
The part about 42.
But the part where you're not going to like it very much?
No, the part that turns out the little riddle that has to do with 42 being the meaning of life.
That's basically the life, the universe, and everything, which really is a horrible question.
It's not even really a question. It's more of a statement.
Deep Thought is the name of that computer that comes up with that. And Deep Thought in Gematria sums to 42. That phrase from that same story, don't panic, that also has the Gematria of 42.
Oh, right, yeah.
And there's an article from 1996. The lead name of the doctor in the article from 1996, there's some scientist, doctor, I haven't read the article for a moment, but in 1996, an article was about this Dr. Saunders who proved that 42 was the meaning to life. And what's interesting is if you write Dr. Saunders, it also sums to 42. And that article came out in 96. That story, you can do a web search for it right now. It'll pop up.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a relationship with 42 and 96. If you add up the divisors of 42, they sum to 96. And the word knowledge with the alphabetic order, K is 11, N is 14, O is 15, so on. Knowledge equals 96. And then if you take the alphabetic order and use the rules of numerology, knowledge sums to 42. And it's the exact same thing with Freemason as well. Freemasons pride themselves on being the keepers of knowledge and are invested in this language of Gematria through Kabbalah. So 42, a big number to Freemasonry, big number to the history of the space program. Of course, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy has a lot to do with space. Outer space equals 42.
Well, Douglas Adams, just as a writer, he often commented, he just said that like 42 just was a number that stuck out like to him. And that's why he was stuck to it. I mean, was he in on the game, or was it just a number that he kind of adhered to and just used it in his writing because it was so familiar?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised in the least if he was a Freemason, and these guys are part of a secret society. They're only allowed to reveal so much, so, you know.
Does he have 42 in his name Gematria?
In my book, I cover how he
numerology?
died. In my book, I talk more about him and how he went out by the code. And I wish I had my chapter open here in front of me. I'd take a peek at it because I can't remember off the top of my head. But
would you like to tell people more about your book there, Zach?
It's out there. It's an ebook right now. I can't find anyone who will put it in paper form. But Letters and Numbers is the title. And for anybody who wants to learn more about Gematria, you just need to read the first 2 chapters and you'll be up on the code. You'll understand how it works, its relevance, why people use it. And read on from there, you'll learn a whole lot more. There's a chapter on the history of the space program, and that's where I intertwine the information from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
See, I'm a huge Douglas Adams fan. And like I said, I mean, I was always a fan of British comedy to begin with, as well as sci-fi. So I really kind of, I guess you could say, gravitated towards it. Who's messing around? Oh, that's Chase, isn't it?
What?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's Chase's mic.
Is it shaky or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can hear you typing.
Oh yeah, I was just typing Douglas Adams' name in. His name's 117.
Back to 117. Interesting.
Oh, shit. Interesting.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, I gravitated towards his writing at a very early age, and consistently onward until just when the movie got when he did the movie. You know, he died. I think
May 11th, 2001.
Yeah, but 11 months before the release of the movie.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah, he was also born on March 11th. Born on the 11th, dead on the 11th.
Yeah. He died several months before the movie actually got released. However, the movie got released with his blessings and rewritings because he rewrote the screenplay prior to his death, making several different changes. One of which was the point of view gun, and a few other items where he replaced digital watches with cell phones because it's trying to make it contemporarily, relevant and what have you. But yeah, no, it was. But the entire thing though was very numerological, and I've always known that. Just didn't have the information to be able to express it like you just have there, Zach. Is actually kind of interesting.
What about the rest of the riddle? It was like, what do you get when you? I mean, it was the answer to the question, which was, what do you get when you multiply 6 by 9, which is not 42. So.
Well, no. The thing is that they actually had to create a second supercomputer called Earth. Somebody run the word Earth through.
It was Earth 2.
No, it's Earth 1 because it was the other planet that where Deep Thought was created. They had to create a second computer, which was Earth, the first Earth.
Oh,
they created the second Earth after.
Gotcha.
The first Earth got wiped.
Does this have to do with maybe a Tiamat story, like with the Zachariah Ascension thing?
No, I don't think Douglas Adams goes that deep.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that the first Earth got wiped out to make space for I think it was a Vogon express highway.
Yeah, Express Highway, right?
Yeah.
Which is where the guy comes from.
No. That guy comes from the Beetlejuice sector. That's prefect Ford Prefect.
No, I mean the guy, the character that ends up getting taken on the Vorlon ship.
No, he's a human. He's that's oh god, my memory's
So wouldn't that be Earth, or is that a different Earth that he's on before he takes him?
no, that's the original and only Earth. There's only one Earth. Only one Earth gets destroyed by the Vogon fleet.
Oh, right. There's a time dilation thing, huh?
Nope.
I forgot
there's no
because
time.
they go to the end of the universe. I remember that.
Does
gonna
anyone
have to
have any
rewatch it
questions
because-
about Gematria? Can we talk some numbers or?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. I was trying to say run the word Earth.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
this is-
52.
You gonna take a
It's
shower?
52. It's not
Yeah.
42.
52. Yeah, it's not 42.
So, so you can't make them equal whatever you want. That's an example of that.
I was just shooting. I was
But
rolling
here,
the dice and
for some numbers on this thing, life, the universe, and everything has gematria of 147, just like Freemason, like conspiracy, like outer space. Again, I brought up that article about Dr. Saunders from 96. Dr. Saunders is also 147. A lot of words in the base ciphers that sum to 42 also sum to 147. The way
And isn't that a prime number?
Is 147 a time number?
Prime.
No, it's 49 times 3. So 3 times 7 times 7. And 377 is a Fibonacci number if you want to make that argument, so it's kind of significant there.
no.
Okay. Interesting. Well, yeah, a lot of these things kind of correlate back and forth with math if you get deeper.
Right. So the coding all over by the way, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy has corresponding gematria with Freemasonry. So I suspect that Douglas Adams was in the know and he didn't just pull 42 out of thin air or just, he just had some strange attachment to it. I think it was put there for a specific reason. And what is the true answer to everything in this world? I mean, it really is mathematics. And of course, the word math with the alphabetic order is 42. So
Right. Interesting.
So-
That's a different take on it. And you know what?
Yeah,
I appreciate you saying that. That's interesting.
Well, remember the movie Pi? Mathematics is in everything. That's what the movie talks about.
Right.
Yeah. What's weird about the whole pi thing is I think it was Zenith. He took a picture of the scene right before he blacks out, and you get to see all of the numbers there. And he counted them out, and he said there was actually 218. But throughout the movie, he's looking for 216 because that's the God number.
Interesting.
So what's the riddle there?
I thought that he was looking for 216 in the movie Pi.
That's what I'm saying. But Zenith of the Alpha actually took a picture of it and counted all of them. And he said there was actually 218.
Huh.
And I counted them too. It's true.
That's very interesting. He got thorough with that, and that Zenith of the Alpha for longer than he's had a YouTube channel has been calling my radio show and saying there is something about this 218 number, and that's obviously the one he's focused on, and rightfully so. Yeah, that sounds like a hidden truth before the viewer's eyes, because the protagonist is following 216, but how many people in the world actually took the time to count out the numbers?
I did. Zenith did.
Yeah.
Whoever watched his video and paused it.
Yeah, that's really cool that you guys did that. And here we are on the 218th day of the year. So
whoa.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's a good.
Yeah. By the way, conspiracy theorist is it conspiracy theory? Conspiracy theory has gematria of 218, and that's part of the riddle with Alex Jones getting axed today.
We should talk about that because that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this has a lot to do with what we're talking about. I mean, here we are.
And it has to do with the censorship as well.
Yes.
And controlled opposition.
Which Alex Jones absolutely is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Me push Pizzagate.
And Donald Trump.
You know, that whole thing with him going into, what do you call it? Not Bilderberg, the Bohemian Grove and all that. I suspect that he was a member, and that's how he went in.
Right, they let him in, no doubt about it.
Exactly. And he just played the role of like, oh, this is what I'm doing while like almost like he's doing a selfie.
Hey, before we transition to Alex Jones, I just want to point out something about Douglas Adams and the release of his film later in the year. The film was released on the 119th day of the year. And if you follow this work, that's a number we talk about a lot. He also died on the 119th meridian, as well as the 34th parallel. Murder has the gematria of 34. 139 is also the 34th prime, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy equals 139.
Wow.
I cover all this stuff in the book. It's coming back to me because I'm looking things back up with his death.
Right.
But I don't think his death was any accident on May 11th. That date, 5/11, that's the same day Bob Marley dropped dead in history. In Jewish gematria, there's actually a film out there that Derek, I don't know if you saw my blog post about this the other week, but I was hoping you would. There was a film released in 2014 about how an amateur conspiracy theorist discovers gematria and says that the world's being coordinated by this code. And I think that's funny because I started putting out this research in 2013. Yeah. But the movie poster for that film decodes the word gematria in the Jewish gematria cipher. And anyway, in Jewish gematria, Saturn equals 511, and Saturn's associated with time and death and judgment. So Douglas Adams dead on May 11th, which can be written 5/11. That day can also be written 11/5, like 115. And Masonic and killing both have the gematria of 115. So does the plural Freemasons. And I always think of JFK because JFK died on a date with 115 numerology in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a Freemason. Right. So, there's a lot of little riddles with the day Douglas Adams died in the release of that film, actually.
Huh.
Wow.
Let's see your post, Zach. I'm trying to look for it.
Well, maybe rather than look for my post, just look up Gematria Film 2014. You can watch the trailer, too. If you watch the trailer, which is short, right at the beginning, he says the time. He goes, it's 4:44. And Gematria also sums to 444 in the Sumerian cipher.
That's the Jake Lebowski number.
How did we never see this before? This movie came out it's been out this whole time.
I didn't know about it. Somebody just pointed it out to me the day I made the blog post. So that was a couple weeks ago.
Maybe it didn't get a lot, or like it went under the rug kind of thing. Like I didn't know about it either.
I mean,
the main character, his name is Manny Haruplex, which sums to 142, 182, and 61. That's the same gematria I have. 142, 182, and 61.
They're talking to you, man. How weird. Weird.
The word gematria also sums to 142 when you flip the alphabetic order around, of course.
Okay. Yeah.
Gentlemen, I will be right back in about 5 minutes. Gonna have to visit the boys.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of spooky, right?
Yeah.
I think all of that was really spooky.
In a bleak dystopian future ruled by multinational conglomerates and corporations, unraveling the ultimate truth has become an obsession for a paranoid Manny Haruplex. He's confident that he's found secret prophecies tucked away in ancient texts, aka the Bible. Yet, his discovery will soon be put to the test by others who believe that the absolute truth, in quote, is hidden elsewhere.
What is it called?
Okay.
Gematria.
The movie? It's just called Gematria?
It's
wow.
called
That's
Gematria,
crazy.
yeah.
Is that on Netflix?
I don't think so.
Is it on Prime?
That's a good idea to look at where it might be.
because I could probably watch it if it's on Prime. I'm interested.
I should watch it myself.
That would be a good decode right there, like another pie movie kind
The
of thing.
film is very short. It's only 26 minutes long, and I think we can understand why they chose that length.
Okay, yeah.
Of course they did.
Alphabet. And all those things that you put in the beginning of the book about 26.
Yeah. Somebody did watch it, and they said they think the main character looks like me because they have the same eye color, but I don't know.
It's a little more than eye color. Come on.
I need to go see what the character looks like. What's funny is the same director also has a movie called Dr. Zach.
Oh, snap. They're speaking to both of you.
It's weird, man.
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
you know, I talk about the number 1331 in my work as being like this super significant eclipse number. And when the movie The Matrix came out, it came out on a date with 133 numerology on the date March 31st. And 133 and 331 are the two numbers that sum to 1331. Well, on that date, I was 13 years, 301 days old.
Huh.
Albert Einstein and the span between Albert and Stephen Hawking being born, I believe, was 13 years, and it was like 13 years, like 3 months and 10 days, I think.
Yeah, I might have had that in my post actually. Yeah.
Really?
I have some words
I think
on
I brought that up to you.
13 and like the from the Pythagorean gematria of 13, and then the English ordinal of 31.
Like
Like the name Lee, the acronym CNN,
Jacob.
the shape
Borrow your charger
cube.
for a bit. Mine's not working at the moment. Can I?
Can you hear me?
You're fully charged. Thank you.
Yeah, I hear you.
We're listening in on Chase there. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shape of like cube, and a government word like old, and that's all I have so far on that.
The word
on
male, like MALE, is 13 and 31. The word cash, 13 and 31. And as far as cube goes, being
It sounds
13
like there's a
31,
connection there.
cube of Saturn sums to 777 in Jewish gematria.
Cool.
Yeah, that's always been a really interesting one. So I don't know how to get a hold of this gematria video, or the movie, but I'm gonna have to find a way.
Yeah. Well, it's only 26 minutes long, so it must be in that short film format.
Right.
So maybe it's one of those like canned film type of things, like something that they were showing at like a book.
The whole
club.
film is actually on YouTube.
It's just on YouTube. Oh, well, there you go.
Type in Gematria.
I have YouTube Red, so I can watch that.
Yeah, it's here. You can watch it on YouTube.
No kidding.
Cool. Well, then there you go. That's our homework. We need to all watch that.
We should just turn the podcast into a gematria viewing party.
No, they'll probably shut us down. Last time we watched.
That's a good point.
Extinction. They took us down. When we put on when we were doing one on what do you call it? George Carlin. Where we had George Carlin on, they took us down. We were talking about division tactics.
Yeah,
And we were
Carlin
using
was
George Carlin as, I mean, but apparently you can't, show that because they'll shut you down. They shut off our stream. It was weird because they shut off our stream while we did the George Carlin thing, and then when we put the George Carlin stopped the George Carlin thing, they put our stream back up.
Weird.
But I'm sure we lost viewers, you know, at that moment, in a sense.
Oh.
What's happening?
Well, so
Okay,
as far as the censorship goes, you know, of Alex Jones being taken down on Facebook and YouTube and all his accounts now, except for his website, basically.
Yeah,
You know,
go into
of
that.
course, they're establishing this precedent now where they can start taking people down online. They got net neutrality in their favor now, so they can start slowing down traffic to other websites. So people who want to go to InfoWars for Alex Jones, for instance, or Gematrinator for one of my videos, you know, the ISPs now have it in their hands where they can slow down access to that, and that's a slippery slope right there.
Right.
But this whole thing with Alex Jones is done by the numbers, and of course, it's just further evidence that Alex Jones is a planted actor, that he's here to derail the whole truth movement. You know, he was a guy that I was all into, you know, a good 10, 13, 14 years ago. Then I started realizing like this guy was there's something wrong with him, you know. And there was so much money getting pumped into InfoWars, it got very suspicious, you know.
Right.
It got very big.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the pills and stuff, like they're always advertising these like voodoo pills and stuff, and I mean, he's been pushing. He pushed like Pizzagate and everything, which was obviously, you know, it was obviously a lie. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and like Zach said, he pushed Donald Trump. You know, now we got Trump in office. And next thing you know, even Alex Jones is cussing out Trump on air. And
he was pushing the whole Ebola thing, like making it sound like it was airborne and shit, and it was like gonna get you and like your next door neighbor.
That's what he does above all. He pushes fear and sells stuff. I mean, that's his gimmick. So.
And they don't call out all the false flag shootings. They call out some of them, but then they treat others if they're real when they're not.
But on another sense, like, you know, the people outside of this world, they not this world, but the world we're in right now, that they're, you know, in a whole different perception, and they see us lumped up with it, with him, if you will.
Right.
Of course.
The idea.
You know, like whenever, and that becomes the same as like with the whole flat Earth with 9/11 thing. Like, you know, like I get called a flat earther now. Like, and if I bring up 9/11, it's like what?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
And so whatever they're doing is working because it's being affected on that level, and that's like physical. That's like in like, you know, with people around me. So
Right.
it's just crazy. I mean, I can't believe it got to that level. It brought from the like inside, like out in the world, and now it's affect you, and it's crazy.
People aren't thinking, you know, a lot of people communicating in memes and memes only. You know, when I brought up 9/11 to somebody, they just posted a meme of some guy like making some face like I'm some fucking retard. I was like, oh, well, why don't you check out my work that's being censored? And then I doused them with links, and of course, they don't respond.
Well, you have some good. You have some
probably a troll.
It was on Facebook. It was like a friend of a friend, so it's always funny to me.
They could be trolls too, you know, depending on who you allow into your Facebook world. It's like I get like lots of people that I never heard of, never known, like they're friends of friends, like on like several, you know, things, but I don't accept their friendship because I don't trust that.
Right.
I used to though, like when I first started Facebook, I was like, oh, anybody wants to be my friend? Okay, boom, boom, boom. So I let a lot of like crazies in that way, you know. and eventually, like I'm seeing whatever crazy people are when they put stuff and it ends up on my feed. And I don't even go to Facebook anymore, so it just if I end up on there looking at it, it's like whoa. I just like I don't even.
Bro. Facebook's for baby boomers, man. You guys are Gen Xers. I'm a Gen Z though.
I suppose. I don't know what that generation is called. After 2000?
You might be like early millennial. Yeah, I'm a Gen Z. 2003. The year I was born.
So, on this topic of censorship, again, this is all by the numbers, and it goes back to Facebook and its owner, or I don't know, CEO now, I guess you'd call him, Mark Zuckerberg.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy Zuckerberg, he was born in the year 1984, and not by coincidence. He also has Israel's birthday of May 14th. And the date of this announcement falls 84 days after Zuckerberg's birthday. And in reverse reduction, Mark Zuckerberg equals 84. 84 being the number of masonry. Jesuit equals 84. Zionism 84. Also, Zach pointed out too. I actually just linked to Zach's post on my blog for the most part. The name Alexander equals 84. He comes from Austin, Texas. Austin 84. And yeah, conspiracy theory equals 218. Today's the 218th day of the year. And then on the flip side, there's 147 days left in the year. The word conspiracy equals 147. So there's no better date on the calendar that lines up with conspiracy and conspiracy theory.
Right.
Even the name Alexander Jones sums to 147. And this guy, all done by the numbers. Infowars equals 666. I forget, does Alex Jones equal?
His full name, Alexander Emmerich Jones, has Gematria of 111 like Infowars.
And then even their anchors, like Leanne McAdoo, I saw she was on there. Her name has, Leanne equals 666, McAdoo equals 666.
Zach, you look like one of those people that are like trying to hide yourself, like on those documentaries.
I just need the voice modulator, and then I'll be all set.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Alex Jones sums to 42, just like Infowars. He was born on the 42nd day of the year. Broadcasts out of Austin equals 42.
Push Pizzagate 42.
He was all over that.
Oh, yeah.
Fake news 42.
Well, I think fake news equals 84 also. And it's 84 days after Zuckerberg's birthday, so that might be one thing to add.
Yeah, that's a good add.
That sounds like part of the riddle right there.
It is.
Yeah, definitely.
Zucker was cracking down fake
No, I'm
news.
starting to understand this riddle process now, I think. So you look for correlations that have to do with like tributes and representations of other things that are connected.
Sure. So think about this too. Like the number 58 was important to the Sandy Hook shooting. It happened 12/14/2012. If you add those numbers, you get 58. And the term fake shooting equals 58. Freemasonry 58. Mm-hmm. Facebook equals 58 ordinal. Mm-hmm. And the 58th prime number, 271, Alex Jones, 27 weeks and a day before his birthday. So you even have that alignment too with dates on the calendar. But I mean, this riddle's a lot simpler than that.
Dates on the calendar are important.
I like how fake news also equals 42 in reduction.
And it equals 84.
It has a lot of overlap with Infowars, actually.
It's a good point.
Fake news is 84.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me, when this whole fake news thing was erupting is the same time Pizzagate was happening. And I remember CNN's headline, "Fake News Gets Real." If you can recall, there was supposedly an armed gunman who went into the pizza shop to investigate. I don't know if you guys remember this story, but if you go back and decode his name.
Madison Welch.
Yeah, if you go back and decode his name, it sums to 84, just like fake news.
And he was supposed to be like one of us, like a person that is on the internet, trying to get information out and stuff. And he was completely an actor.
He had an IMDb account, right?
Yeah.
And then
it's just crazy.
And the whole Pizzagate thing. and how he was all over it. Like he knew that there was like pedophiles there or whatever. It's just like such garbage. And then he just came on, and you're telling him that it's fake. Him and Jeff C were at I watched that debate.
The Pizzagate debate. How could I forget? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just such shills, man.
Yeah. You did your homework. I didn't know you'd seen that video. I even forgot about that.
Yeah, I was there. I mean, I saw it as it happened.
Yeah. That was a funny one.
Yeah. I mean, like, you gotta be stupid to believe that there's like a sex ring at like the bottom of a pizza shop.
They're trying to bring it back now, like 2 years later. It's just insane.
Yeah.
And it has to do with that
I
Q
know.
person or whatever. Did you guys decode any of that?
QAnon?
Yeah.
Oh,
74.
Uh-huh.
yeah. Well, there's a dude, or there's like a dude on Derek's chat or whatever, and he's like, QAnon is a fraud equals 666 in reverse satanic, and it's
Hey
like,
there, guys.
I'm kind of
Hey, welcome back.
sick and tired of the
Sorry about that. I had to do some
Gematria.
damage control with my neighbors because my power got cut because of a broken breaker.
Oh, okay. No biggie.
But I digress. What are you guys on about?
Oh, we're talking about QAnon and some of the other stuff, and how this dude made up the phrase QAnon is a fraud, which equals 666 in reverse satanic. And you know, I was just saying how I'm kind of sick of these people using gematria and just making up these random phrases to draw these crazy conclusions, you know?
Like Tony, tell it like it is.
Like my full name, with my included, is a perfect match for the transgender agenda in all 4 base ciphers, you know? I'm not pushing the transgender agenda, you know, like it's kind of
That's
like,
a perfect example of
and then these people
non-correlation.
doing like this trans spotting stuff, and
Yeah, the
it's just
tranvestigations
ridiculous.
are
Like,
getting kind of annoying,
you
but
know, like
some of them are trannies.
Can I please ask you guys to further divulge what these things mean, just for the listeners out there? Like you say the 4 base ciphers. What are the 4 base ciphers? Just to recap for the people listening right now, in case they don't know, because I sure shit don't know.
So the alphabetic order is number 1. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, D, 4, E, 5, up to Z. The 26th letter is 26. The next cipher is using the alphabetic order, but incorporating the rules of numerology. So A is still 1, B is still 2, C is still 3. Where it changes is when you get to the 10th letter, J. Instead of J being 10, you just take the numerology of 10, which is 1 plus 0 is 1. You get to the next letter, K, the 11th letter. Instead of being 11, it's 1 plus 1 is 2. Does that make sense? You get to Z, the 26th letter, it's 2 plus 6 is 8. You just make each letter a single-digit number. So those are our first 2 ciphers. And then the other 2, to complete the 4 base ciphers, are just flipping the alphabetic order around, making Z1 and counting up to A is 26, and then also doing that with the rules of numerology.
The same thing apply. Okay.
Exactly. And words that have relationships will have major overlap in all the ciphers. For example, witch and broom are a perfect match in all 4 ciphers. Judge and gavel, a perfect match in all 4 ciphers. And when you learn, it's not just that judge and gavel are a perfect match in all 4 ciphers. You see how over the years, judges get installed to the Supreme Court again and again by the same numbers that are in those ciphers. And not just Supreme Court justices, but they're just numbers that come up all the time with judges. For example, at the alphabetic order, judge and gavel both sum to 47. The latest Supreme Court justice, Neil McGill Gorsuch, sworn in April 7th.
Right.
That also happens to be the 97th day of the year, and the word supreme with the alphabetic order is 97. Recently, Donald Trump held off his Supreme Court pick until July 9th, a date written 9/7, 97. And what's weird is if you write out July 9th, it has Gematria 47 and more overlap with the word judge. So those are your 4-base ciphers. There's a lot of relevance to those 4-base ciphers. For example, gematria. What that word means is geometry in language. And if you take the alphabetic order and the reverse alphabetic order, so A is 1 up to Z is 26, and Z is 1 up to A is 26, and you write out geometry, it happens to sum to 108 in both ciphers. And think about what geometry is. If you remember geometry class, an important concept is symmetry. So the word has perfect symmetry. But then beyond that, there's other riddles within it. If you write out 108, 1's a line, 0's a circle, and 8's 2 circles put together. Lines and circles, I'm sure in geometry class, you remember graphing lines and measuring circles again and again. And this entire code, the mathematics behind it, a lot of it has to do with real-world mathematical relationships from what you could call the geometry of this earth. And in your science textbook, if you open it up, it'll tell you that the diameter of the sun is the diameter of 108 Earths, and from the Earth to the sun is the diameter of 108 suns, and from the Earth to the moon is the diameter of 108 moons. And when you consider that the people who are using this code are syncing it up with the days of the calendar year, which has everything to do with, you know, our orbit of the sun, you start to see, okay, you start to see the logical reasoning behind this. And just because I don't think it's been said yet in this podcast, and I don't know if it was said in the first Gematria podcast, this entire belief system about letters and numbers and these mathematical synchronicities, it comes from Kabbalah. Freemasonry is heavily rooted in Kabbalah. Kabbalah has the core belief that God created the world by merging the letter with the number. And anybody out there can go buy the Book of Formation. They sell it on Amazon. It's a short book. It's only like $4 to buy. But if you open up the Book of Formation, which is this, you know, essential book for Kabbalah, right on the first page, right when you start, it talks about how God created the world by merging the letter with the number with the sound. So that's where it begins. Why the English alphabet being 26 letters is a complete tribute to this code. This code is in connection to God, at least the spiritual belief about God. In Hebrew, where Kabbalah originates, God equals 26, just using the alphabetic order. Same with in English. God is G-O-D, 7 plus 15 plus 4, 26. If you write out the word letter and use the alphabetic order plus the rules of numerology, so instead of L being the 12, L's the 12th letter. Instead of it being 12, you just do 1 plus 2 is 3. So L's 3, E's 5. Instead of T being 20, 2 plus 0 is 2. Make each letter a single-digit number. Letters 26, just like God. And this is what it's about. God, letters, numbers. And if you open up the Bible, where this code also comes from, the 26th verse is where mankind is made. And the name Adam also has gematria of 26 in the base ciphers. So, you know, these are the 4 base ciphers. There's more than just the 4 base ciphers, but if you learn those 4, you'll be able to see through most things. And just to take it back earlier to something we talked about in the show, I talked about the riddle with the shooting in Florida of Marquise McGlockton on Gaston Glock's birthday, July 19th. Marquise McGlockton equals the same thing as stand your ground, which is the focus of the story. It's a stand your ground case. Has the same gematria as stand your ground in 2 of the 4 ciphers. And when you look at the way his name's spelled, it's just spelled ridiculous. It's like, okay, nobody spells the name Marquise that way. And then the name McGlockton, I mean, that's a pretty ridiculous name too.
Well, even just in terms of wordplay, when you go and recite that back, there's a lot of alliteration there as well. There's a lot of verbal wordplay. Yeah. I mean, I'm a bit of a wordsmith myself, so I mean, yeah, no, I like go ahead and say that again. The entire thing with the McLaughlin bet.
Marquise McGlockton.
Yeah. See, it's I don't know, man. You can't make this shit up.
No, and they spelled Marquise Markeis,
But
and
apparently you can script it out.
yeah. So for people out there, there's another number that they really love to code into their propaganda, and it's 113. And it comes from the Talmud, Bava Kama 113a. It's okay for somebody who's Jewish to lie to somebody who isn't, as long as it's in a legal setting, which is pretty much this entire world. We live in a world of
Statutes
and laws.
Yeah, statutes and non-jurisdiction. It's fucking all bullshit.
So if you break down his name, Marquise is 113, McGlockton's 113, the killer's name is Michael Dredgka. The way they spelled Dredgka is 113. The word parking is 113. It was a parking lot dispute. Also noteworthy, the word Scottish is 113, as in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. It's heavily invested in this code and has much influence over this nation from the beginning up to the present. And think about the name Mick. I mean, Mick's a beginning to a Scottish surname, so
MIC or just MC?
MC. MC.
What about MC Hammer?
Well, MC's got a lot of interesting things to it. In Jewish gematria, MC equals 33, the number of Freemason obsession. Yeah, good question with MC Hammer. I've never looked into MC Hammer, so
There you go. I'm gonna do all the '80s, like since I work at the '80s cafe. I'm always seeing the videos of old '80s videos. So I've been writing down like all of the artists like involved and well, the band names or whatever. And then I'm going to do the gematria on them and see if there's any correlations with their birth numerologies and all that. And they're going to be posted on my blog at some point in like a certain order. I'll just probably have it on the side as a place like 80s artists or 80s bands or something like that. And then
hey man, I don't mind helping you out with that because I was alive in the 80s. I had a hip hop band for like 7 years during the late 80s and early 90s.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Piracy Productions.
Nice.
Piracy.
Yeah. We just took shit. We didn't care. We just took everything we liked and we just did it. Whatever.
You were ahead of your time. Who was your influence? The Beastie Boys?
One of them and the Doors.
Nice.
Well, the Doors weren't doing hip hop.
No, but hey,
No.
man, hey, I had many influences.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, it was
That's
interesting period of life. I have to say.
the Doors were in the '80s.
What?
Doors were in the '80s.
Nope.
No.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say because
No. They're 60s. But I mean, I grew up on the Doors, Pink Floyd, but the Beastie Boys, Ice-T, Rhyme Syndicate,
nice.
African Bambaataa, and then moving forward to other groups. Oh shit, like NWA.
I'm growing up with X.
Even though I knew they were fake as fuck, but I mean.
Well, you can give me all the ones that are less mainstream because I get like all of the mainstream kind of ones.
Oh yeah,
from the '80s. So you can give me the less mainstream. Although I listen to a lot of '80s like industrial and stuff. I don't know if I'll do those. Maybe.
Oh well, then we can get into the area of like the Dead Milkmen. We can get into crap. There's a long list. Yeah, we'll go through this together.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to bore people with my humming and hawing here, but hey.
No.
Can I ask all of you guys a question?
Absolutely.
I like was it good back then? Because now, like, I only listen to like EM because that's like all the mainstream music's pretty trash.
I would say mainstream music's always been pretty crappy. You always have to search for your own, but then at some point it became like there was a moment where the radio was actually playing what people liked, I guess, if you will, and then that stopped, and it got
I mean,
separated, and now there's no radio anymore, really.
well, I like some of the '90s songs. Yeah.
I was just
Go
going to
for it.
say that a lot of my friends absolutely freaking hate me, and it's because I've literally stopped listening to music. I mean, when I'm using my computer, it's to do like video editing. So when I'm doing video editing, I have to edit audio. And when I'm editing audio, I can't be listening to music while I'm editing audio. When I'm writing, if I'm working on my story, I can't listen to music because it will augment the writing. So I literally don't listen to music anymore. When I'm on the bus, you know what I see? I see a bunch of fucking knuckleheads sitting on the bus, sitting there with their goddamn faces and their fucking cell phones. And I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking do that either. And I don't have a pair of headphones in my ears. I only have the headphones in my ears so you don't hear feedback. No, I just don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
I have literally not listened to radio. I've literally not listened to music for at least, I would say, about 9 years now.
Well, the only reason why I really listen to music is because like I play like this game called Geometry Dash, so I just get into that music there. I don't listen to the radio either.
Yeah.
It's an on again, off again thing for me. Like I'll go spells, I'll go weeks, months without listening to any music, and then I'll start listening to everything that I can get my ears on, you know.
Right.
But I have a deep passion
Oh,
for music. I
yeah.
used to DJ when I was younger. I made a lot of music. So it still sticks with me to this day.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Well,
I
Hey, I still make music to this day myself, but it's just like
It's like sports. I'd rather play them, you know.
Right.
yeah, I can totally appreciate that. Yeah, I get.
I'm
what
more
you're
of a
saying, right.
producer, so I like to produce music, and um, I'm kind of influenced more by noise than actual music.
Well, I mean, I played like a year and a half, but I quit because my teacher said that it was bad.
Wait, go back to Keith there. Conspiracy. So you're telling me if I got a box of marbles and shook it, you'd be totally into it?
No, I'm more into structured noise.
Oh, structured noise. Okay, so if we got like I don't know, a structured box, some marbles into it.
If you had the marbles falling in a mathematical structure and they hit something on a timed dilation, and then you echoed it through like a delay, that would be awesome.
You're a picky eater, aren't you?
I like playing with the 404 SP SP something 404, or is it SP 404? It's like basically like a thing that you put do you program things into it, sounds and whatever, or you can record directly into it.
Yeah. Like the 808, like the 303. There's a 404. Believe
Yeah,
me, I've
the
also
404 has a sequencer, so you can actually have
no, the
it like
303 has a
play like.
sequencer, and so does the 808. So does a Corgam one. Yeah, no, you're talking my ballpark. No, I
Okay,
get
so
what you're
there you
saying.
go. Like I like to play with that,
I,
and that's why I said
can't.
do the delay.
All you had to say was a box of marbles is off the table.
Got it.
Yeah, I can't figure out GarageBand here. So,
Chase, you're losing you.
to do.
Can you repeat that, Chase?
His parents
hear
are
me?
probably toning down his internet or something.
I think his internet's
Hear me
kind of
now?
going down.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I just said that I couldn't figure out garage.
Couldn't figure out
Garage.
something.
I think he's trying to talk about. You
This
figured
is
out.
it.
Oh,
Dude, his internet connection has zombified his voice.
Yeah,
I know, he
hijacked
sounds funny.
me.
Wow. You know, I was thinking zombie as well.
When Zach was talking before, he was like really breaking up.
There you are. Okay, now what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying how bad I was with music, like making it.
Well, good thing you found Gematria.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
And you know,
better.
and you know, you can use Gematria to make music.
I don't
You might
know.
want to explain that one.
oh yeah. There's a really fucking huge fan base.
Well, I mean, you just use the number scheme
Sorry, I'm just being
and
facetious.
associate it with the measurements that. I mean, Derek, you know how to make music, right? You use measures.
Yeah, but I wouldn't like actually code out my album with Gematria or anything. I wouldn't do that.
I would.
Yeah, you would.
It's
I
about
would
the music.
totally
You
do
know
that.
what? I would come up with the names, I would make the album, and then I would decode it and I'd be like, whoa, cool. I found all this stuff. So
I mean, you
I'll
could
just
like
take it that way.
you could.
Well,
You know,
I want to write some Gematria music. I think that would be
Do
interesting.
you want to
Although
sing
I
about
don't like my
conspiracies and
own
stuff?
voice. Well, yeah, exactly.
Want me to sing something?
Although I don't think I want to sing, but I mean, I'll probably like modulate my voice and then put it under like a button and then push that button
wait.
over and over again.
We'll do
Chase,
auto
Chase,
tune.
Chase. Did you just offer to sing something?
He
Yeah,
did.
I did.
All right, we're in. All of us. We're all in.
Okay.
We're all in.
God, what do you want me to sing? Like "You're Welcome" or something?
Hey, it's your oyster. You shuck it.
All right. Okay, I'll sing like the first verse. All right. Here goes nothing. This is from Moana. Have you ever seen the movie?
Okay.
No.
Nope.
All right. I see what's happening here. You're face to face with greatness and it's strange. You don't even know how to feel. It's adorable. It's nice to see how humans never change. Open your eyes, let's begin. Yes, it's really me, it's Maui. Breathe it in. I know it's a lot, the hair, the bod. When you're staring at a demigod. So what can I say except you're welcome? For the tides, the sun, the sky. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. Ha, I guess it's just my way of being me. What has two thumbs and pulled up the sky when you were waddling yay high? This guy, when the nights got cold, who stole you fire from down below? You're looking at him, yo. Oh, also I lassoed the sun. You're welcome to stretch your days and bring you fun. Also I harness the breeze. You're welcome to fill your sails and shake your trees. That good enough?
That was great.
That's awesome.
What made you sing that?
Well done, sir.
Oh, I just know the lyrics to that song. So
That's funny.
You know what, Chase? You are definitely a strange man.
yeah,
But
and
but absolutely appreciable and lovable.
thank you,
We
thank
are
you.
better with you than without you.
You
Yeah,
got plenty of years to get even stranger too.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
I bet.
I mean, I'm pretty strange already. I don't know.
Chase, what's that from? I know I want to watch it. What was that from? Uh-oh, he
Moana.
dropped out again.
It's from Moana. It's going to be the new Gematria Effect theme song.
Yeah.
I can't sing, at least not without computer assistance. I did make a song about a dystopian future though, where I played the voice from the television that told all the citizens to hide their possessions and stuff. Like
Nice.
it,
Do you
it's
have that
pretty
one on
dark and
SoundCloud?
cool. I don't have it on there. It's actually like I don't have the track. I don't have the original track files, so I have to like.
Oh, snap.
But I do have it on CD, so I have to splice up the MP3. I got to get it up there. It's
Well, I
kind of
know what you
creepy.
mean.
Like
I
you wouldn't
have
even
like a
believe it
hard
was me.
drive of like stuff I made, and it's in the hard drive. I mean, it's external hard drive, but the part where you plug in to like
Derek, but you're
go into the wall or whatever is broken, and so I can't even like turn it back on so I can actually get it out. But there's a
you're
thing that I made that has my music on it. If you guys ever want to check it out, it's I would say more like noise, but it's structured. It's on it's on my conspiracy channel under like a video that I actually made. Like it's like your kind of style. It's like what do you call it? PowerPoint style, and it's all about Saturn because I did this whole research project on Saturn.
Nice.
It's called Saturn Research Project, pretty much. But if you want to just listen, you don't care about the information. It pops up. Just listen to what comes out. That's where my music is, because I put it on there to like fill up areas and to go along with the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's gone. That's all. I mean, I still have it there. That it's on the net, but I don't have the original anymore.
Hmm.
It sucks. So I understand what you're talking about.
well, we could do an album.
Well, I'd have to. I don't. Just like Derek, I haven't made music in a while, other than like messing around with the 404 and my
Right.
friend with the guitar, and that stuff came out pretty interesting, but I didn't really consider it like like track worthy or anything like that. So I my original things that I made, like essentially, I mean, I never sold them or anything, but I made them into CDs and had my own, and I play them over and over again, and those got lost in the fold too. So like a lot of my original stuff was inside of that, or still is inside of this hard drive that I can't access. And it's just
Yeah,
like, fuck.
music took over my life at the time, like kind of like Gematria has now. I found a couple music programs, went to town. Next thing you know, I'm out in California trying to make it. And
Right.
Do you ever do any gematria on like the music scale or any elements of like music theory or any of that?
no,
The
I
word
wonder if
I do
that will
not.
reveal anything. Have you, Zach?
the word music and the word seven, 7 notes, they both have the same. They have gematria overlap.
That goes with the Kundalini because the Kundalini 7 chakras.
Right. Yep. And I've theorized that. So in Hermeticism, there's one of the Hermetic principles. There's 7 Hermetic principles. One of them is frequency vibration, and every number carries a vibration, and that's what gives numbers their special qualities, because they carry these vibrations that have an influence on us. And when I read that, it made me think of music, because music absolutely has an influence on us. It can totally change our mood.
It's all vibration.
Right. So I think somehow subtly, earlier you guys were talking about the organic side of the code. It seems that somehow, some way, these vibrations are having a real influence on our lives, and say the people that we end up with, our significant other, what we name our children. And it sounds like a bunch of hocus pocus, but when you actually get down and do the math, you go, oh, wow, there really is something to this. And I remember once upon a time when I was first getting into this research, I was in a bookstore and I picked up a book on numerology, and the author, he didn't call it gematria, but he talked about getting your personal name numerology, and he shows the way to do it. And the way he showed it was to take the alphabetic order and the rules of numerology. So on Derek's calculator, what he calls full reduction, the dark blue cipher, when you go to the 4 base ciphers, and the author instructs to use that cipher and decode your full name and then the full names of people in your life. And he said you'll be amazed at the connections you find. And so I was like, well, whose name should I decode? Let's see if there's something to this. And I thought, well, I might as well do my parents and myself and see what happens. And I decoded my father's full name with that cipher, and it summed to 89. And I decoded my full name with that cipher, and it summed to 89. And when I saw that, it immediately made me think of my mother's birthday, which is September 8th, which in a lot of the world's written 8/9. And my mother's full name, it doesn't equal 89, but it equals 62. And the thing about 89 and 62 is they both break down to 8 in numerology. 8 plus 9 is 17, 1 plus 7 is 8, 6 plus 2 is 8. But even weirder than that is, back when I first looked at that, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that my dad kept the newspaper from the day I was born, because that day they recorded the coldest temperature on Earth in the time of recorded history, and the day I was born still happens to be the coldest recorded day in the time of recorded history, and that record cold temperature is negative 89 Celsius. So I'm like, how weird is that? 89, my father's name, my mother's birthday coordinates. 89 is also a Fibonacci number, and if you watch that film Pi, it introduces Gematria and the Fibonacci numbers at the same time. And what's weird is if you do Jewish Gematria, the word Gematria itself sums to 233, which is the 13th Fibonacci number. But anyway, 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number. The next Fibonacci, the 12th, is 144, which also happens to have a square root of 12. But what's weird is from my father's birthday to my mother's birthday is 144 days. So I just started looking at all that, and I'm thinking, that is just too weird. And I shared that story a long time ago, and since then a lot of other people have decoded their names and reported similar things. So I mean, you just look at it and you go, how can this all be? I mean, how can it work out this way? But then you go back to this ancient knowledge, Hermeticism, numbers carry in vibrations, the vibrations impact the way we live our lives. You know, the numerological beliefs say these numbers that are attached to us from our names and our birth, they're going to have an influence on us the rest of our lives, and influence who we meet and who becomes our friends and our significant others. And it absolutely
I have
seems...
a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the middle name and last name have any like correlation? And have you ever heard of a person having the middle name and last name as generational? Because I'm the fourth generation of Arlen Wise, and then I did the decode of Arlen Wise, and it equals 137 in the reverse ordinal. And the first generation, or I guess the person who first had that Arlen Wise happened to be a Freemason.
Well,
in my dad's side.
Well, in Kabbalah, Hebrew sums to 137. And okay, so I'm glad you made that point. When I was for people who don't know who I am, recently I've been driving for Uber and Lyft to make some money. It's actually not a bad job in Seattle. It's easy to make about $2,000 a week. But in the time I was driving around, I was teaching a lot of people about Gematria, just if they were social. And I wouldn't just tell it to anybody, but like if people were having a conversation or brought something up, I'd share it with them. And there was actually an older man who I was driving back to the airport, and I was sharing with him something about this. I forget, he brought up some conversation about the Kennedys, and I said, oh, you want to learn something interesting? And then he cut me off and said, you know, my father was a Freemason, and he actually named me using this code. And he said my mother was very opposed to it, but my mother allowed him to give me a first name that was based in this numerical code. And his first name was Kirby, Kirbi. And the thing about the name Kirby, spelled that way, is it begins with K, the 11th letter. You'll notice in the media, a lot of places where a C should be, there's a K in names in these stories. K is the 11th letter, and 11's the master number in numerology. And the name Kirby with the reduction cipher, that's the alphabetic order in the rules of numerology, is pretty much, it's arguably the most important cipher. The name Kirby sums to 29, which is the first number after 11 that has 11 numerology. 2 plus 9 is 11. So no doubt his father, gave him a master name, being aware of this code. And it just goes to show there are people out there who are aware of this code, and they do use it, and they use it with purpose. You'd understand why a father aware of the code would want to give his son a masterful name. So,
Well, my first name's Keith,
Keith.
so there's the K. Yeah, and that's why I do conspiracy with the K. Although essentially I did try to do conspiracy with the C, and it was already taken.
Your name also
So
sums
I
to 26.
had to be clever.
Your name also sums to 26 in that cipher. Which
yeah, I know. I thought that was a trip when I was reading your book.
Yeah. So
at the beginning, I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" I'm like, connect. So am I is my name essentially connected to all those other 26s?
Well, I
in
guess
some sort of
theoretically,
weird
because it carries that
correlation?
vibration. So, yeah.
Yeah, like a girl born on February 6th might be just a little bit smidgen more likely to be attracted to you or something like that.
Sure.
Sounds crazy, but that's what we're discovering.
Sure. And that,
Okay.
so
Don't fail.
that's something that Derek and I have in common. I used to always wonder what it was with girls named Katie, because all through my life I had girls named Katie chasing after me from a young age. Into the first time I tried online dating, I had 5 women write me, and all of their names were Katie, the first 5, and I just thought, what is going on my whole life? Always girls Katie. And I just wondered what it was. And
could have been like the computer system, the troll system, sending out messages to new members too. I don't know.
Sure. So now understanding this code and realizing there's something to this, I realized the name Katie equals 19. Katie's 19. And I happen to be born at 1919 military time on July 21st, 1983. My full name is Zachary Keith Hubbard, which is 19 letters. And I just noticed something recently, that if you write out July 21st, the day I was born, in Gematria, that sums to 67, which is the 19th prime. And my dad's first and last name, if you don't count his middle name, just his first and last name is also 67, which is the 19th prime. So I just say, wow, okay, so I have this 19 associated with my letter count at the time I was born, and lo and behold, these girls with 19 named Gematria my whole life have seemed to, always had a thing for me. So to me, that's the real world evidence that there is absolutely something going on with this code that's very real, and when you know it, can be observed.
Yeah, and that I'll lead that right into my story, which is like freakishly specific, but this is really what happened to me back when I was younger. I fell for this girl that I worked with, and it happened because of a dream. I just woke up and I was head over heels, and that girl was named Katie, and that didn't work out. I ended up dating this other girl named Katie a couple years later, and at some point I realized that they were close to the same age, like same distance apart from my age, but in different directions. And sure enough, I calculated it. One of them was 784 days older. One was 784 days younger. And just back then, even before I knew anything about numerology, I just thought, how bizarre is that? So now, here I am talking about the moon, right? Like that's kind of a big focus of my study is the moon and how it relates to Gematria. My name equals 90 and 99. My last name, Takuri. The moon equals 90 and 99. My parents got married on a date with 90 and 99 numerology. And this girl's name sums to 99 or 90 in the alphabetic order, one of those two numbers. In the extended cipher and in Jewish gematria, her full name matches the moon. And then I looked up I was like, this is getting weird. So like the house that she used to live in, the address was West 33 North 137. And I was like, what is going on? Like, that's the 33 number that's been following me around too. And then I also figured out the name Katie, not only does it sum to 19, but in extended, it sums to 235. And this is another super significant moon number. My parents are born 235 days apart. There's 235 synodic months in the Metonic cycle. There's 23 and a half degrees between the tropics. So you add 19 to 235, you get 254. And if you measure from my birthday to the birthdays of these Katies, it was 2 years and 54 days in both directions.
Wow.
So that's like really deep, really crazy stuff. And then there's this whole, I call it a riddle. I don't know what else to call it. But like the one time I saw the one girl at school, because she was a couple years older than me, had already graduated, it was on September 11th. And that was a big moon ritual, as I've exposed on my channel as well. So like when you really hammer it down, like when I actually took the time to go back in my life and look at the things that, you know, kind of molded me back in my teen years, and that stuff happened by this crazy numerical code that I thought I discovered and started sharing, like my own life that's been happening. And I mean, it gets too, like people have died by the numbers since I got into this, you know, with certain symbolism attached. And so oh my god,
Same
so,
here. Yeah, yeah. Like my one of my friends from um San Francisco, who was like big in the creation of legalized or well medical legal, the 215. He was part of creating that, and when he passed, it was by the numbers, and it happened to be that it was like 311. I mean like or no, they did. That's right. He passed like a week before that. They did the funeral or whatever it was, like remembrance thing, memorial.
the
That's what
wake.
it's called. Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't a wake. It was like a
Oh,
memorial.
okay.
Yeah. Like where they had and they charged people to go and stuff. So I didn't even go. But it was who I'm talking about is Dennis Barone. If you ever want to look him up and see his numbers.
Hey Zach. Okay, so my name in reverse, my full name in reverse sums to 337. Your name in Frank Bacona sums to 337. The name Katie in Trigonal equals 337.
Oh, there it is.
Just so weird,
Wow,
dude.
that's just crazy. Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't know.
But see, like after you have these documented, it's like set in stone in a sense that now you can go back to it and you can see it, and it's like okay, it's easier to remember, right? And if you color scheme it, it's even easier because then you start remembering the colors with it.
Right.
That's why I keep like Saturn purple and Masonic stuff purple, for instance.
Has anybody ever thought about converting the colors into hex code or into actual RGB codes that can be interpreted into the Gematria?
My friend's into that. I'm trying to get him onto the show. Like I showed him the 113 stuff and all that, and he the hexadecimal code and everything.
Right.
I I would really like to get him on. I mean, maybe I could tell him to come on Wednesday because he's talking about all that stuff, and he went on to like the U.S. government website and he found like all these like 113s coded onto the website and just all this crazy stuff. Since I introduced him to it.
Well, as a computer programmer, because I am actually a certified C programmer, I've had to deal with everything from hexadecimal to octal to binary, your usual set of number differentiation. I would be very curious to see what comes out of that, because if you
talk to him,
if you start getting into program code and start cracking hexadecimal and start figuring out what's actually like, okay, we're talking about the code of life, we're talking about numbers, dates, and things that are happening with people and stuff and what have you. But if you start to get deeper into this matrix, if you start to actually look into actual code that's written into the things that are defining our social media and what have you, I wonder if we're going to find similar numerology within the actual structure of the program code.
right? I mean, I think that you should, like, since you're somebody that's, I think that with the computer code, I mean, you sound very well versed in it. Like, because I don't really know anything about computer coding, so like maybe if he could talk to you and tell you like what he found on like the websites and everything, and he also like did some work on like Polybius, like somehow he like got the game or whatever.
Interesting. I did some research on Polybius. I was interested because I came across that in one of my weird paranormal searches.
Yeah, he's in my grade. I think he might be 15 now. But yeah, definitely smarter than the average kid. You know.
How old are you, Chase?
I'm turning 15 tomorrow.
Crap, you're just a young chap.
Yeah, I am. But yeah, he's like really paranoid, or rightfully so.
Yeah,
Like
it comes with the territory.
He has like his own computer and everything, and he like whenever I talk to him, like he tells me like to power down my phone and like put it away. Like he's that concerned. I mean, like
he knows what's up, and he's just like, you know, we know what's up, but we're just used to it. Like he's not used to it yet, so
but this
he's doing precautions. I mean, it's a good thing to do. I agree with that. It's not something that I can do in my life at the moment. You know, it's not possible for me.
See, for me, I'm the exact opposite. I'm just like, you know what? I'll put it all out there. Give you my phone number. Give you my cell phone number. I'll even give you my IP address. I don't give a rat's fuck. Mind you, I also run a Linux system, and I also know my shit. So, I mean, you try to hack me, I'll fuck your shit up. But, I mean, that's neither here nor there. But, yeah.
Well, that's pretty. But you're talking about octals and things like that. That's the same as what's in the number system of the Gematrinator calculator. Like when you go to numbers, it tells you your octal or your hexa.
Well,
is
Derek,
that the same thing?
Well, Derek, what do you have any light to shed on the subject on this?
Well, not too much. I've just found there is some significance to the octal numbering system in relation to Gematria. It's not really something I do in my work very often. I might mention octal like once a month, but there is a relationship between some numbers, and to me, that it actually adds significance to the whole 911 code. The numbers 9 and 11 have this relationship through octal. 9 in octal is 11, but then if you take like 9 times 9, let me make sure I get this right here.
Well, wait, hang on. Octal is base 8, so the number 9 actually doesn't even exist in octal.
Right.
And in hexadecimal, you go from 9, you go straight to the letter A, up through to F, which is basically 15.
Okay. So that's where I get thrown. Is where you get the letters. Why is the letters show up?
It's a substitute for like
how do those
11, 12.
Yeah. Okay. If you're working with base 10, okay. Yeah, a little bit of a math tutoring thing here. If you're working with base 10, you go from 9 in the first column, right? And then as soon as you go to 10, there's a 1 in the second column. Yes. Okay, so hexadecimal is base 16. So basically, in the first column, you jump from 9 to A, then you go B, C, D, E, F, and then you put a 1 in the second column, which is technically 16. Okay. So then 1A is 17, 1B is 18, 1C, and so on and so forth. And then you work your way through the column base. Anyway,
sort of. So what I was pointing out is that if you multiply 9 times 9, you get 81. If you multiply 11 times 11, you get 121. And in octal, 81 converts to 121 because, like you said, there are no 8s in the octal system. So it just maintains that connection with the 911.
Right.
When you're 15 years old.
Okay.
So it's tough to describe, but it does seem to be somewhat significant to this whole thing.
Well, I'm just curious now because I mean, maybe we could do it like an investigation. A lot of the code that Google has is open source. I think we have Chase, you're gonna have to do something about what's flicking around with your microphone there, bud.
Oh, yeah.
Because your ball's deep in my ears, and you're really, really clicking around.
Is it better now?
No, you're good now. Okay, that's cool.
Better?
Yeah, totally. But I think there's something to be said, though. I think if we look a little bit deeper into what like Google has to offer, if we look into some of these algorithms and everything else that's being used, if we break down the code, we might be able to find something based on everything else that we've talked about tonight. With base 10 encoding, I'm fairly certain we might find some hidden cues and clues. Zach, what do you think?
No, I think you're right on. And you just saying Google just reminded me of something that when I was driving around in Seattle doing Uber and Lyft, I picked up a lot of people who work for Google, a lot of people who work for Facebook, a lot of people who work for Amazon. The big tech companies are up there in Seattle, and those are predominantly who uses those services to get around town. And what's interesting about Google Spot is they're in the Fremont neighborhood of Seattle, and their address is 601 34th Street. And whenever I picked up Google employees, I would make a point to ask them if they thought it was a coincidence that there's this language in Gematria, and when you write out Google with the alphabetic order, G7, O's 15, so on, Google equals 61, kind of like 601. And when you write out Google with the alphabetic order in numerology, it sums to 34. So their address is 601 34th, and Google equals 61 and 34. And when they would say that it was probably a coincidence, I'd say, well, do you remember that recent story in the news, the Google shooting on April 3rd? And they'd say, oh, yeah, I do remember that. And I'd say, think about how that date in the majority of the world went in 3/4 like 34. They'd say, oh, that's kind of interesting. I'd say what makes it even more interesting is if you go decode the shooter's name, you'll see that their first name equals 34 and their last name equals 34. And I forget, one of the names is also 61. They'd be like, that is interesting. And I'd say, yeah. And then if you go beyond that and you just pay attention to this code and use it every single day in the headlines, you'll see that all the stories are made up this way. It's not just Google.
Your turn to have Archie? Whose turn? What's going on here, Chaz?
Oh.
Hey, Chase. Chase, I think your mom's pissed at you.
Yeah.
All right, I will. She's telling me to take a shower.
What a good mom.
She's a good lady.
Yeah.
She's a sheep, though.
So are a lot of our moms.
Yeah, right.
Hey, but if you go and take a shower,
my mom's turning around lately.
Hey, if you take a shower, then you're a sheep too.
But yeah, to answer your question, I think you're absolutely on point, and it would be a good thing to investigate. So,
yeah, I mean, look, guys, I came across a very, very startling article about I think about 2 years ago, and it was regarding the microwave background radiation, and in order to decode it, these scientists basically had to figure out a way to filter out the noise in order to do like error resolution and error correction, I guess you could say. And what ended up happening was they basically filled in error correction routines from CRC checks. They basically borrowed program code from error correction and like zip file utilities, like compression, error correction, redundancy check codes, and they basically just kind of tooled it into their algorithms, and guess what? Fucker worked. That's how they figured out the geometry of the microwave background radiation, and they use the same techniques that we use for error correction and data compression. So I mean, like there's something going on in that. I'll leave that with you guys. I mean, shit. Like there's something in there.
Well, when I get to a certain point, I'm going to be starting to list them.
When I see
where
Zachary,
everybody can access that.
when I see Zachary close his eyes, he's like a fucking machine. He's like a computer. As soon as I see him close his eyes, he's like, I could just see him fucking going.
I'm about to close my eyes because I'm falling asleep over here. It's pushing midnight in my neck of the woods, so I might have to sign off here. I'm kind of
I gotta
falling asleep.
Are you in the east?
Yep.
Well, no, I'm in the Midwest,
Milwaukee,
so
right?
I'm 2 hours ahead of you. It's pushing
Okay,
midnight.
I'm on the
right.
West Coast here.
Yeah, you guys are lucky.
Yeah, I'm in the Okanagan Valley here in British Columbia, so
Right on. Well, yeah, if you don't mind, you guys, I'm gonna sign off and get some sleep. Gotta get up at a reasonable time in the morning. So,
Derek, it was a pleasure to have you, man. I really appreciate you coming out tonight.
Yeah, let's.
Me too, man. Thank you.
Same.
Yeah, sure. Let's maybe do this again sometime, and more powwows. I think are always fun with when it comes to this gematria, bouncing stuff off of each other. We're all picking up on things that the others aren't. Like oftentimes Zach and I will put two posts together on the same event, but they'll be completely different. We'll focus on different numbers, and I mean, everything runs pretty deep, it seems. So
well, I'm completely new to this. Like I'm completely new, and like I'm kind of like the I don't know, the redheaded stepchild who just stepped in. Like what the fuck, but I mean, at the end of the day, fuck, it's like it's really bizarre and compelling at the same time. So I do appreciate you guys teaching me what you know, and
of course,
it's brilliant.
Well, I appreciate it, Robert, and yeah, thanks for having me on again, Keith. Good to talk to you, and Zach, I'll have you back on the podcast sometime soon here if you'd like.
All right, sounds good, man. Get some rest.
Will do. All right. Peace, fellas.
Hey, peace out, Derek.
Right.
Peace.
Later.
See ya. All right, down to 4.
And then there was 4.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Hey, Chase.
Yo.
Your mom still getting after you for a shower or what?
No, I think they've left. Get it. My last shower as a 14-year-old.
What, you had your last shower when you were 14?
Well, I mean, this next shower will be a bit. I'm gonna put it off till the end of this because I already missed a decent chunk due to chores.
Nobody likes choring.
Yeah, I miss a lot of Zach shows sometimes because I have to have dinner in the middle of the show and do chores and I don't really know my schedule sometimes. So like if you want to schedule events with me, you guys kind of got to be flexible because I don't like talking about this stuff around my parents because
we understand that.
Well, I'm 1 in 100 males that could actually bite my own toenails. So yeah, I'm flexible.
Chase, before we go take a shower, I wanted to ask you earlier, is your aunt who's in this show, I'm sorry, is her name Andrea Savage?
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is.
You know what's interesting about when she started the show? She was 44 years old, and her name in that pretty much the cipher sums to 44. That just jumped out at me.
Huh. In which cipher is it?
The reduction cipher, the dark blue one on Derek's calculator, the base ciphers.
Reduction.
Yeah. So, was that her first show where she was the lead?
I think so. Yeah.
I see she's been in quite a bit of
billboards
stuff.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on billboards everywhere. And my uncle or her husband is an agent for a very famous actress and a bunch of other famous actors and actresses.
Have you talked to your aunt about this code?
No.
Might be interesting to ask her if she knows anything about it.
Yeah, maybe I'll ask her next time I see her.
She's 45 years old right now, and I'm sorry sums to 45 in the 2 reduction ciphers. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe when I'm older, I can do some decoding some of the episodes.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So, what's Robert J. Morris come to in any of those ciphers?
Robert J. Morris.
I'm trying to do it in my head real quick, but here, just
I got this.
So you got for the alphabetic order, Robert. Is your middle initial just J?
It's John.
Okay, might be better to get your full name.
Robert J. Morris is 180, 72, 170.
Yeah, your full name, Robert John Morris, with the alphabetic order is 217, which makes me smile. My birthday is 21/7. Full reduction, that's the alphabetic order. Numerology is 91, which is the 13th triangular number. And then the reverse ciphers, the reverse alphabetic order is 215, and reverse full reduction 98.
So Moana equals 91.
Huh. That's funny. And you decided to sing that on his podcast. Perfect.
Right.
And how did you choose to sing that? Just that's like the song of all songs stuck in your head?
Well,
that was crazy.
It's the song. It's the song that I pretty much know all the lyrics to.
Okay.
Out of like it's a song that I know the best, so just decided to sing it.
Just wait till you get to drinking age and get it to the karaoke bars.
Well, I mean, I listen to mostly electronic dance music songs, so I know all the lyrics to those. Some of them have no lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah. But to find the meaning to any of those numbers that come from your name, you'd have to look at your parents and your significant others and your friends and dates in history, and then things might start to jump out at you. So.
Well, here's a twist. We did this last time, and I'm gonna go through it again. But the twist is that my actual last name before it was changed to Morris was Kay.
Huh.
Robert John Kay.
Okay.
I'm still here. I'm just driving.
It didn't change the numerology of your name. All of your numbers break down to 9, regardless. Robert John Morris or K. That's interesting.
That's what I heard last time. Holy shit. Okay. That's called consistency. Oh wow.
All right.
Do
you like baseball?
What's that?
Do you like baseball?
Well, by like, do you mean, yeah, I like baseball. I don't follow it.
Rob, give him your birth numerology, too, so you can see the match of that.
Oh, yeah. May 28th, 1974.
Yeah, so you got the 9 numerology as well. Yeah.
You know what we should do? We should measure between all of our birthdays. If there's anything interesting.
Well, that would be interesting.
That could be interesting.
I told my lady friend here I'd be off by 10, and I see that she's starting to make noise in the background, so... Yeah.
Oh, it's time to shut her down, isn't it?
Oh no, because I'll never.
Isn't that the get at her?
So.
Or no, pitter patter, right?
Pitter patter.
Right.
Pitter patter.
Yeah.
Which means get at her.
I have a blog post of some organic matrix stuff on me.
Do tell.
And as well as Zach's birthday, I was also born 1,046 weeks away from him, and my birthday leaves 146 days left in the year. And then my mom and I were born 2,087 weeks apart, and her full name, her first name and last name equal 287, and her name also equals 98. And my dad was born on August 9th, which is written 9/8 international. And my dad's full name, including his middle name, equals 88, and my mom was born on 8/8. And then my brother was born on the day, leaving 87 days in the year, and my birthday is 8/7. Also, birthday equals 87, and our birthdays are 8 weeks and 3 days away from each other, and his full name equals 83. And then I found this work on January 11th, 2018. So if you spell that out, January 11th, 2018, it equals 143. And my mom's full name, including her middle name, equals 143.
That's
interesting. So yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That's it on me.
Yeah, so I think for the people out there, decode your parents' names and decode your name. Like I was saying earlier, my dad's full name, or not his full name, but is this his first and last name equals 67? I think I forgot to mention that my mom's first and last name equals 67. Not her maiden name, but her name that she took from my father. Both of their names are 67, which again is the 19th prime, and then they have me, and I'm born 1919. They gave me this 19-letter name, which they said they like the sound of. I used to always ask my parents why they named me what they named me, because I'm not named after anybody. And like they gave me this awkward middle name, Keith, and there's, it's like an Irish name. We're not Irish at all. There's no Irish. Right. But somehow the numbers, it just all works out perfectly. So
my parents were born 119 days apart. I thought that was a trip.
Yeah.
My mother died in 1976. Her name was Bonita May, Maekay, Kay.
Maykay?
Bonita, Maekay.
So her name is 117, and I swear to God, I did your job. What did I type in earlier? And your name was 117 as well. Robert. What did I type in?
Robert John Kay or Robert John Morris?
His name was. Oh, maybe it was. What was I looking at earlier? Somebody had the 117 connection.
Yeah, I think I brought it up.
Maybe it was his other name. Was it Robert John Morris?
I forget. It was actually something I was looking at earlier in the show without.
I mentioned his name was 200, isn't it? 217.
Somebody was 100. I forget what I was looking at at the beginning of the show. It'll come back to me after I get off.
This is a thing to throw in. I was actually supposed to be born on the 4th of July, and I stayed in my mom's womb for 20 days.
You lazy fuck.
Yeah. So then that's why I came out the 24th. But what I've learned, if you get into the what do you call it, biography or bibliography of Einstein, you find out he just stayed in his mother's womb for 90 days.
He was a lazy fuck too.
Exactly. So essentially, there might be a whole thing with the brain, and that could be why I focus on this now.
That's because lazy fucks are smart. It's like, fuck, I ain't going over. I'm not gonna hang out here.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. And also the day before, the 23rd, which would be my eve or whatever. That's the day that they do the thing in the Bohemian Grove.
Can you imagine hanging out inside of a womb though? It'd be like, no, this is good. No, I don't. No, I won't change this. No, this is good. Okay, I'd like to hang out. Okay.
You know it.
I'm gonna hang out in here for a bit.
I'm cool. I don't even want to deal with whatever's going on out there.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. What was that? I don't care. I'm in here. That's good.
Anyway, so what do you think of that, Zach? Is there any correlations between like almost being born on the 4th of July, or essentially being scheduled on 4th of July? My mom was like in labor over there, and then I didn't come out until the 24th.
I'd have to think more about it just off the top of my head.
Okay.
I can't pick out anything. Yeah. All right.
I thought it was just kind of weird.
You know what's in light of the fact about the 119 thing, you're born on the 205th day of the year, July 24th, the 205th day in non-leap years. And
yeah, I have a lot of death numbers. It creeps me out. 38, 109.
There's a number of words that have gematria of 119 and 205 in the 4 base ciphers. It's another one of those things where it'll work out that way. So I'm just thinking about that relationship with those numbers. And, you know, the one that always jumps out the most is all-seeing eye, but yeah, I'm sure there's more to it if I look at it. All right, you guys, I really appreciate you having me on, and I'd be happy to come back, but I got to jump off for this evening. So
no worries, Zach.
Awesome, man. It was fun. Thank you for coming.
I'd like to call it a night. Also, how do I get a hold of you again, Zach?
Well, my email or just messaging me on my YouTube channels or my blog. How do you normally get a hold of people? What's it?
I don't know. I just don't have your contact information.
Oh, here, I guess in this chat box, I can write my email right here.
Yeah, give him your email.
Yeah, send me your email address, bud.
Did that just show up in that side chat?
There we go. Got it.
All right. Yeah, that'll do it.
All right. And I muted Chase just because he was messing around with his mic there again. Now I can't unmute him. But
yeah. Chase, you got to get better when you're on the air. Last week I was trying to connect Chase on my radio show, and he had the radio blaring in the background. I was like, "This isn't gonna work, Chase." It's like, come on. So.
Oh well.
All right, but happy birthday, Chase. Thanks everyone for watching, and thank you, gentlemen, for having me on. We'll do it again.
Thanks for coming out, and I'd like to thank everybody for being a part of the show, including Chase and Derek, who's already left us. You guys are great. Great topic, and wow, completely full of surprises.
Yeah. All right, you guys.
Yeah, it was a good show. Thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate it. Somehow I actually got it all together. I was like, I couldn't believe it happened. So I'm pretty happy.
All right.
And yeah, hopefully we can do it again. You know, maybe we can get Dan Barrett on next time as well.
Yeah, have him on. He's my favorite YouTube decoder. So.
Hey, and maybe we
have so like all over the place. It's like and it's so spot on. It's like I was like following him with the whole Stand By Me thing, and then lo and behold, what comes out? Castle Rock. I mean, are you kidding me? It was just like, whoa.
Hey Chase,
blew my mind.
Maybe you can invite your mom to the next podcast.
Oh, I don't know. She probably.
She's probably my age. Don't worry. Just saying.
Hey, Chase, you got to talk to your aunt about that show because it also debuted on A Date with 44 numerology. Yeah, something's going on there. So
you know what's funny is I'm actually 44.
Yeah, that's a special number there. So
I'm only kidding.
Karma.
I'm just I'm just trying to throw humor down the road there. Chase, it was great to have you, mate. Thank you for joining us, man.
Yeah. You're welcome. Oh, and I was actually
thanks, Chase. I'm glad you came on.
Shoot your email address up in the side chat there before we we're gonna shut the broadcast down.
You have a Skype?
I do have a Skype.
All right. Here, my name there's nobody else in the world named Chase Plager, so you could just add me as Chase Plager.
Well, I just shot you my Skype address in the
All right,
chat.
well,
Anyway, I guess we could talk about this after we stop the broadcast. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody else for tuning in, and peace. This is Gematria